The thought of using, automation and machine learning is not something that's scary. I think it's a natural evolution of the time. And, things like NLP are just getting better and better over time as well. So I think if your company hasn't embraced this sort of technology, I would really look more into it, experiment with it, do a test case scenario, whatever it is.
Hello everyone, I'm Aish and welcome to another episode of Engati CX. For this episode, we have the pleasure of welcoming Neal Schaffer to our interview series. But before we dive in, let's begin with a quick introduction of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform, available across 14 channels with 30,000 bots, created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati vlog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Neal Schaffer is a leader in helping educate executives, professionals, and businesses through their digital transformation of sales and marketing through consulting, training, and helping enterprises, large and small, develop and execute their social media marketing strategy, influencer marketing, and social selling initiative. CEO of the social media agency PDCA Social, social media educator at Rutgers University and the Irish Management Institute. Neal is a true innovator and influencer in digital and social media marketing, and has even authored 3 books on social media channels. So welcome, Neal. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
So let's just dive into our first question. How can AI help in new forms of marketing, such as influencer marketing and video marketing?
So I think one of the compelling ways in which AI can be used is really in the back end to analyze all the data that we are receiving from our marketing channels. I think influencer marketing provides a compelling case of how that can be used. And if you think about it, if we have the data that shows, for instance, the number of followers that someone has on Instagram every day, we can map out over the course of time, were there any peaks or were there any dips in those number of followers? For instance, if someone had 2,000 followers on one day and 4,000 the next day, obviously, if we have machine learning or artificial intelligence, we might be able to pick out the fact that there was an unnatural sort of growth in Instagram followers. We could do the same about engagement on posts. We can look into those that are engaging and seeing, for instance, are those people even following the people that they are commenting on, which is commonly we see when there are these engagement pods that exist in Instagram. So, this is one way of looking at the data and applying machine learning and artificial intelligence to try to really analyze what is going on. And I think it can be applied to any sort of data. Now, what's really interesting about influencer marketing, and I brought up this point about Instagram, is that now we have visual artificial intelligence as well. So the visual can now analyze the photo or a series of photos and try to understand, what are the things in those photos that cause people to engage with it or to comment on it. If we have a picture of an influencer holding a can of Coke in a natural setting underneath a cherry tree at sunset, was it the sunset? Was it the cherry tree? Was it the can of Coke? And as we analyze influencers over a number of images, we try to look for patterns, or I should say the visual artificial intelligence will try to look for patterns for contextual reasons as to why people engage with content. So on a lot of levels, artificial intelligence is really exciting as a way to analyze various data. And that's just one use case scenario for influencer marketing.
Oh, that is really exciting to hear about visual AI. Like I that's the first I'm hearing of this. So thank you so much for sharing that. So
Oh, sure.
moving on to our next question. Can we expect an increase in the adoption of AI and automation to help businesses in their marketing activities, especially during this unprecedented time?
Yeah. So, I think what companies are trying to do is really provide a personal touch, right? And as they should, because they really need to serve their community today.
Oh, definitely.
But in doing so, though, because marketing in essence is a one-to-many art. How do you engage with people digitally? For those of us that have always been very active in digital marketing and social media marketing, we've always been doing this. But I don't know about you, but I've just started to see so many companies send me an email for the first time, as if they finally discovered email marketing, right? So digitally, we need to keep in better touch. And this is where actually, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation can play a great role. I mean, think about the automations that you can do with email marketing. And as you keep in better touch during these unprecedented times, we begin to segment how we keep in touch with people based on their purchasing activity, for instance, based on their activity on our website. And this is all data that we can get and now personalize our communication with them through marketing automation in email marketing, which is one example. So I think a lot of people think that artificial intelligence and marketing automation mean less personalization. I think that if you use it in the right way, it actually means even more personalization. It just requires you to spend a little bit more time working on it so that you do your best to replicate a person. And I think, Engati being the provider of chatbot technology, chatbot is a great example. So I've always recommended chatbots for my clients in marketing. And I was on a site yesterday and they gave me 4 options, right? They say, hey, how are you doing? Can we help you with, what type of business are you? I answer it like, okay, how can we help you with one of these 4 things? But they didn't understand that not every customer fits into those 4 silos. So they could have had an other, right? There was no other button or entry. So I basically just typed in a question and I got nothing.
Oh,
And
no.
there was, right. And I know that the chatbot technology exists where it can say, I see that, first of all, to have an other option, right? Or to maybe think more deeply about the customer journey and all the various ways, really to create something based on your own call center or customer success team, the type of inquiries that they get, and really to map out something so intricate. And the more intricate you map it out, the more complex it is, probably the more personalized it's going to be. And the more, regardless of what scenario exists, you're going to be able to answer 99% of those through a chatbot. I think that's just a great example. I think that marketers expect technology and automation to make their life easier, and it can, but you need to program it correctly. And artificial intelligence only works good when it's taught to learn the right way. So at the end of the day, people are in charge and manage the technology, and they have to do it right. And that's the thing I think a lot of companies miss out on, the opportunity.
I think a lot of companies also expect artificial intelligence to be the be all end all, but it's more of a collaborative effort. It has to,
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So AI is not going to take away all of our jobs. Certainly some of the jobs that are probably very low value, as we become more efficient over time. And we've seen this with the introduction of every new technology. Has always, computers are going to take away our jobs back in the day. I don't know if they said that about fax machines, but anyway, you get the point. And I think that at the end of the day, you need to teach AI, you need to teach these tools how to work. So there's a need for a lot of intelligent people to control and create and develop new technology for them. So I'm actually excited. I think the AI advancements is going to help marketers by doing a lot of the heavy lifting of that data analysis that humans just can't scale to do at the level that AI and machine learning can help us do. So I'm excited for the future.
I'm excited too. Bringing up the point about the chatbot, yeah, like you said, it goes hand in hand. So having a chatbot that can also hand over the conversation to a human is very important. So that's why live chat is becoming a really popular option these days.
Yeah, and I know, I'm sure Engati offers it as well, that option of chatbot with live on the other end. So the chatbot is not the end objective. The chatbot is the service, the 80-20 rule, service the 80% of the customers, but the 20% where they have a special need to always have someone in the background ready to jump in. And that's obviously a more sophisticated way of doing it that I think more companies should think about.
Yeah, it's a sort of bridge in a way.
Yeah, indeed.
How can AI be leveraged on social media monitoring? What role do you think natural language processing or NLP plays in social listening?
Well, right now, obviously, we have social listening tools and we create different algorithms inside those social media tools to be able to help us uncover conversations. So there's always existed bot technology. I think a lot of bot technology that was used in the Russian influence of the American elections is an example of this. But Twitter, for instance, has always allowed bots to exist with open APIs, where if I was to tweet something about President Trump, for instance, I might have 5 people respond to me within a minute with a seemingly personalized message, right? This is based on social listening, finding those conversations that are relevant, and then automatically posting a reply. Now, the danger in doing this, if you're a brand, is what is that reply going to look like? So once again, I think that the AI and social listening to try to uncover conversations that are really critical to your company. But where you use AI above and beyond that in terms of the front-end communication, I think you still need to be very, very careful. Unless it's something where 80% of the conversations you're getting are the same, and the reply is always going to be the same, then that might be a use case scenario. I think, once again, going back to my earlier example, the more compelling thing is how we use the data in the background to alert us that people are, when they mention our brand, they're talking about failure, or they're talking about expensive, or they're talking about out of stock, can't find. And when we have a number of people doing this at the same time, we can use AI to sort of trigger an alert that says, wow, our people are having problem with our product. Our product can't be found, or whatever the issue is. So you can see from a customer success management, customer experience, how the social listening combined with some sort of machine learning / AI can play an important role in sort of analyzing, like I said, in the back end, what is going on and what are the actions that various teams within the organization should be looking into in real time.
Definitely. But what role do you think NLP plays in this?
Natural language processing? Yeah, so I mean, that really is the core. The NLP is being able to analyze what is being said and actually, for lack of a better word, sort of correct the English and really understand the intent of what is being said. So, NLP of being able to, for instance, and I'm not an expert in NLP by any means, but obviously being able to process a sentence, a tweet, and make meaning of it in its proper intended language. So obviously this can be really important on social networks like Twitter, where people shorten things, or on platforms like Instagram, where people will talk in a slang or use various acronyms that other generations might not understand. That NLP can really help you understand what exactly is being said.
For sure. So customers these days, they crave immediacy. So do you think the fact that AI-driven chatbots can answer questions in real time, do you think that's going to help improve experiences dramatically?
I think so. I think it's tricky, and not everybody is used to engaging with a bot, in all honesty. But I do find that there's a growing number of people who are getting more and more used to engaging with bots, whether it's on websites or whether, for instance, Facebook Messenger bots. So I think, once again, it's all in how you orchestrate and develop that bot, so that you are being able to offer those sorts of personalized answers, or answers for the burning questions that people that come to your website might have. So, the way I look at it is, people come to your website and you expect them to go to your shopping cart or your product page, or you want to lead them to a certain destination. I see the role of the chatbot is helping your customer navigate in a more natural way than just going to a menu bar and trying to find the option that fits them. It's really cutting through the clutter of your user interface and giving them the ability to say, how can I help you? What can I help you find quicker than you trying to navigate and find it yourself? It's really a great example of something that companies, I think, should be doing more of. And I believe at the end of the day, they can provide a greater digital, customer experience, especially on the back end. Hey, sorry that I wasn't able to respond to your question. I'm going to get a real life human on in just 1 second, right? That sort of thing. I think that, if we look at the example of like call centers, so these days, whenever you call someplace, it's completely automated. They're using a bot, right, to respond. And when you can't get to an operator because you don't feel like the choices they give you are going to answer your question, that's when you get really frustrated. So that's the challenge in developing your chatbot, is you want to make sure, like that case I talked about earlier where my question wasn't provided, the answer wasn't provided in the options. You really want to make sure that it's all in how you develop that. And it's going to be, good stuff in, good stuff out. If you develop it in the bad way, then you're not going to get really good results from it.
Definitely. So moving on to my final question, are there any other thoughts you'd like to leave our audience with?
The thought of using, automation and machine learning, it is not something that's scary. I think it's a natural evolution of the time. And, things like NLP are just getting better and better over time as well. So I think if your company hasn't embraced this sort of technology, I would really look more into it, experiment with it, do a test case scenario, whatever it is. But, and I would say, we covered a few different types of tools today as well. The chatbot is of itself a sort of AI infused tool, right? But going beyond the chatbot, even things like influencer marketing tools or social listening tools, even things that are able to, for instance, a social media management tool that can analyze all the content you published in the past and say, we recommend that you repost this because it got great engagement. Any use of technology to do that sort of analysis in a smart way, right? Using machine learning / AI. I know those are two different things, but they're often lumped together. But, any sort of marketing tool you use, I want to see more AI built into that tool. And I think that it's a good idea for you, if you agree, to really do an audit of all the tools you use and look at all the other companies that are out there and see what they're doing. And maybe it's time to switch to a tool that is more innovative, that is using more machine learning, because the more you use, it's going to help you from a time perspective, but it should also help you from a quality perspective, as I talked about in all these different, user test scenarios.
Thank you so much for sharing that and for giving us your time. Your insights are really valuable, and I know our audience is really going to enjoy this interview. So if you've stuck around for this long, we're so excited to announce that our ebook, The Evolution of Customer Experience, is out and available to download. So check the link in the description below for more details. We'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one.